everyone, welcome back. Today I'm craving some comfort food. You know, I just crave it. Sometimes I just crave comfort foods. I know that you know what I'm talking about. Today I'm going to be making a little baby roast that I bought at the store. I'm going to put some carrots and potatoes on it. Sometimes I will just put carrots on it and make mashed potatoes and then a gravy to go over them. But today I just want carrots and potatoes and onions, and I bought some fresh corn. I'm going to cut off the cob. I'm telling you what, if you've not had fresh corn on the cob, cut off the cob. It is amazing. My mom always called it fried corn, but she always wants to go out once the camera starts a-rolling. But anyway, she can wait a minute. But it is so good. It's so creamy, and the cream that comes from the corn, once you kind of, never mind. I'm just going to show you. I'm going to show you. And I'm also going to be making, what else am I making? I can't remember what I'm making. Cabbage. I'm going to fry some cabbage. It's going to be so good. So good. I'm craving this kind of food. First off, I'm going to show you this big onion that I got. I'm going to cut this, not real big, not real small. We're going to cut that little hairy part off last, because I'm telling you what, I think that's what kicks your butt when you're cutting onions. I really do. Oh, I can smell the strength of that already, and I'm not about to start crying with this meal, but I'm just going to cut the outer edges off there. I'm going to go ahead and put my onions on top of my roast. I'm going to cook it for a little while before I add my carrots and potatoes, because I just bought some little baby red potatoes to put on as well. And you know, those don't take very long at all. My plan this morning, but it didn't happen, was to get up and go down to our local farmer's market, which I'm sure has an abundance. Look at that. Look at that. My mom would say, you are wasting half of that onion, Sandy. See if I can save it. I just don't like the outer, you know, toughness. This is becoming a challenge. So I'm just going to take my onion and just kind of, you know, just kind of cut it that way. Nothing spectacular. Little pieces. And these are going to help keep the roast nice and moist. You don't have to cut it up. You know what? That thing smells so potent. So I'm about done with it already. I can feel my eyes watering. That's good enough. It's going to cook down anyway on top of the roast. Let me show you what I got today. Woo, Lord. I bought a little chuck roast. I love to cook chuck roast. If you cook them right and long enough, they fall apart so nice and tender. I want you to look at the price of that. $13 for that little piece of meat. That's crazy. For less than 2 pounds of chuck roast. I hope this video don't turn out dark. I'm going to add just a little bit of olive oil. This ain't olive oil. I'm lying. This is some type of oil. It's vegetable oil. I'm going to add a little bit of vegetable oil to, if you've got canola, that's perfectly fine. You can use it to the bottom of my little short Dutch oven here. I love cooking with this. This is one of my favorite things to cook with. Obviously, this is going into the oven. It's going to be amazing. And then I'm going to go ahead and crack this open. I'll tell you what, for that much money, you should come with your own personal chef to cook it for you. Don't you think? Now, I'm just going to brown this on both sides, or on all the sides. Once this gets nice and hot. We're going to add, before we start that process, I'm going to add a little bit of onion salt to it. Oh, this is not salt. It is salt. I don't want salt. Sometimes I don't even know what I'm doing. And that lid's not even on there. I want some onion powder. I must have left my lid off of it. I'm going to put a little bit of onion powder on there. It's going to flavor it so nicely. It's going to flavor the veggies as well. You know what? Let's add a little bit of garlic powder, just a little bit. We're not gonna put the garlic powder on both sides, just the onion powder. How's that? Let's make it nice and delicious. And we're gonna flip it over. Like I said, this will cook down really to nothing. But it's gonna be so good. Like I said, if you cook it long enough. I remember growing up, I've done it again, that's onion salt. I remember growing up, when I first started cooking, you know, when I was like 3. No, I'm kidding. But I was like, why is my meat not getting tender? What's going on with that? Why is it not getting tender? Tender, not titter. But you have to cook it long enough. If you cook any meat long enough, it will fall off the bone. Like, I told you that I wasn't going to put that garlic powder on that side too, but guess what? I lied, obviously. Then we're going to use some pepper on top of that. Lots of pepper, guys, and some salt. We'll salt and pepper the other side once we get it in the pan here. I think we're going pretty good with that. It looks hot. Let's see. Just gonna place it right in there. It's not hot enough, so I'm not placing it right in there. We're gonna give it another couple minutes to make sure it gets nice and hot. Look who's over there. All right, now let's see if it's nice and hot. Should be hot enough by now. It's getting there. It'll work out. It'll work out. But we're just going to brown these on all of the sides. It'll take just a couple minutes to do that. You want to get a nice sear to it because it's going to lock in all that delicious flavor and those juices. This is perfect. I'm going to go ahead and add just a little bit of water to it. I want you to look at that. You see that? You see that the brown bubbling off the bottom of that? That is exactly why I'm doing this. It's going to lift every bit of that deliciousness from where we seared that meat. It's going to lift that right off the bottom of that, and that's going to be some wonderful flavor. I'm going to go ahead and throw my onions in. Put right on top. That doesn't look like very much onion, but now that I got it cut up, it does, doesn't it? Now we're going to add a couple beef cubes to this. You know what? I should have done this before I put my onions on there. I'm just getting ahead of the game. Gotta stay ahead of the game. Just going to pop them right down in there. Push them right down in there. They don't have to go in the juice. They can go in the juice, or you can stick them right in the roast. Whatever you want to do. Sorry guys, I had to grab my towel. Now I'm going to cover this and I'm going to put it in a 400-degree oven. It smells so good. For about 20-25 minutes, and then I'm going to turn the stove down to 350. Let's do 350, and then we're going to let it cook for about another hour and a half, and then I'm going to throw my carrots and potatoes on there. Now, although the roast might take a little while to cook in the oven, several hours to be exact, there are things that you can go ahead and do to just prepare yourself to get you know, dinner done a little bit quicker once it comes out. Like I said, I got some corn on the cob that I'm going to cut off the cob. I'm going to show you. This stuff is absolutely amazing. But I've already shucked it and washed it and got as many of the pieces of little, you know, skin hair, or not skin hair, corn hair off of it, because I don't like biting into that when I'm eating my fried corn on the cob, or fried corn, whatever you want to call it. But let me tell you something. It is so aggravating when you get, you know, a piece of that in your mouth. One good way that I've learned to get that off of there, you can go to the dollar store and buy just a cheap little toothbrush. A $1 toothbrush. And as you're cleaning your corn in your sink, just take that toothbrush like that. you know, up and down there, and it gets every one of those little fine hairs, corn hairs, whatever you call them, off of the corn. And that's my tip for today. Let me show you the corn. This corn is absolutely beautiful. Now, bigger is not always better. Although we think it is, it's not always better. But the bigger the corn that you buy, look at that, the bigger the pieces are going to be. And to me, they're always a little bit, they seem to be a little bit tougher. I like the thinner pieces like this. See how thin that is? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut this off the cob. You know, it's really hard to tell when you're checking it out in the grocery store. I am one of those people who stand there and actually, you know, pull the husk down on each and every one of them, because I like to see what I'm buying. Get you a good sharp knife, and then you just put your corn, see I left some on there. You put your corn in a bowl. I find it better to do it in a bowl like this. And then you just take your knife down. You got to be careful, guys. Be careful. If you're new at this, Lord have mercy, don't do it. Just eat that corn on the cob. And then you just take your corn and you cut it all the way down. You cut it right off there. I'm doing 5 of these today. Well, you're going to make a mess. It's going to be messy. But you know what they say, if it's messy, it's worth it. And trust me, it is. But you just cut it all the way down there. And I'm going to show you something else that I do after I get done cutting it off the cob. Oh, I'm working up a sweat here. Just get the ends of it like that. Now, let me show you something. It don't take but a few minutes to do. Watch. Watch, watch, watch. Then, once I get all of them cut off, I take a smaller knife and I just scrape the cob like that. And I want you to look what's coming off there. Little bitty pieces of corn and all of that. I don't know, corn milk. Is that what you call it? Corn milk. Corn juice comes right out in there, and it makes it so absolutely delicious. Nice and creamy, just like I like it. And you can also get the pieces at the end with the smaller knives. Just, you gotta be careful, guys. You just gotta be careful. You just scrape, scrape, scrape. You cut up, ooh, I think a piece just went down my top. You gotta scrape it until, you know, the cob's turning nice and white there. That's getting every little bit of there. Look at that. Waste not, want not. I'm gonna go ahead and start cutting up my cabbage and get that ready to go. And just like the corn, I'm going to put it in a bowl and put a lid on it. And then once, about 30 minutes into when it's time for my roast to be done, then, oh, that's hard. I'm just going to start cooking my cabbage and my corn. Look at that. I swear. All right, let's take a look at where we're at with this. Look at that. Man, it has shrunk, hasn't it? I'm gonna go ahead and add my carrots and my potatoes in there. Let me poke around on it just a little bit. Oh yeah. Look at all that delicious, I almost scraped my pan, juices on the bottom. Boy, it's a little piece of meat, but that's all right. It's gonna feed us perfectly. I'm gonna add my carrots and potatoes in. This is cooked about an hour and 15 minutes at I'm gonna leave my potatoes whole at about 350 degrees. I'm gonna add those in there. I'm leaving my potatoes whole because I think they're prettier like that, don't you? And those are the little red potatoes, so they're going to cook a lot faster than the carrots. So what I've done with the carrots is I can't even think what I'm doing here. What I've done with the carrots is I cut them, some of them are like huge, so I just kind of cut them in smaller pieces. So the cook time will be pretty much, hopefully, even with the little red potatoes, because you know the little red potatoes does not take as long as carrots do. They cook up faster. I'm gonna pop this. I'm gonna put me a nice big old hunk of butter right in the middle of them. I'm gonna season those potatoes up just a little bit with some more pepper. I love stuff like this. I can't wait to eat. What am I doing? Choose this. I don't even know what I'm doing here. Maybe we're gonna just put just a little bit of onion powder on top of those as well. Oh, this is gonna be so good. So good. And I'm gonna pop this right back in the oven for about another hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, somewhere around there. I'll let you know what it looks like when we're done with this. We got about 30 minutes left on the roast, the carrots and the potatoes and onions. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and get started cooking my corn and my cabbage. I am really, really hoping this little pan is big enough for my corn. But I kind of doubt it, but we're gonna see. So we're gonna add some butter to this pan right here. It's a couple tablespoons. And then to this pan right here, we're gonna add some oil, a little bit of oil. And I'll probably add just a touch of bacon grease in with this as well. That is the only way I know to cook cabbage, is add a little bit of bacon grease in it. Got them both going here. I want you to look how much corn. 5 ears made. Look at that. That's a lot of corn. And like I said, I'm really, really hoping that all that corn will fit in here. I'm not going to wait for that butter to melt. That butter will melt perfectly fine. Oh, there's a piece of corn husk. Just going to add it right here to my pan. And I want you to look at that. Look at all the juice that came out of that corn. I don't know if you can see it in there or not. Well, you'll see it. You'll see it. Look at that. You see that in there? Of course, you'll find little pieces of, you know, corn hair as you go. Just pluck them out of there. I don't mind a little tiny bit, but Lord, I don't like to get a big old bite of that stuff. That's when you know you're eating good, when you get a little bit of corn silk. I've been calling it corn hair all through this video. It's corn silk. Well, look at that. It all fit in there. And that's probably going to be enough corn even for tomorrow, because tomorrow I'm going to make some Salisbury steak. I think I'm going to make some Salisbury steak. Maybe some mashed potatoes. That'd be good too, wouldn't it? Now I'm going to wait and see, because this is going to render some more of its corn juice, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to add some salt to it. And some black pepper. Oh, I love fried corn. That's what Mom always called it anyway, was fried corn. Look at that. There's plenty in there. Plenty of juice. I should throw it all over the place. I'm going to get this going. You just got to pick out. You just got to pick out the little corn pieces. The little corn silk. Corn hair. Whatever it is. And then in this one, we're going to add our cabbage. And this is about a half of a head of cabbage. It's a pretty big head. And then in here I've got green bell pepper. I love to fry green bell pepper and cabbage together. It's just so amazing like that. And then in this one, I know I'm going to add a little bit of bacon grease to that. It gives it so much flavor, don't you agree? I'm going to add, this one I'm not going to add regular salt, I'm going to add some onion salt to it. Gotta add onion salt to that. Oh gosh, yes. Lord, yes. Season that up. And some pepper. A lot of black pepper. Now, this is where the magic happens with your cabbage. You have got to add a little bit of bacon grease in it. There we go. I'm going to keep my eye on both of these. And I'm just going to enjoy this nice, delicious smell. Oh my gosh, everything just smells so good. The roast with the carrots and the potatoes, the corn, it's going to be amazing. I'm going to cut up some fresh baby cucumbers, and I got some pickled beets to go with it, and I got some little green onions, so it's going to be so good. That is done. Look at that. I'm going to show you how nice and tender that is. You can just go right down into the carrots with the fork. Look, it just tore right apart. The potatoes are nice and tender. And look at the meat. Look at that. You can just shred it. Pretty much shred it. I gotta have a bite of that. I gotta have a bite of that. Look at that. You can just tear it with a fork. I'm trying so hard not to destroy this. I gotta have a bite. Oh my gosh. This smells absolutely amazing. You guys are amazing. You know I love you so very much. I hope you like this little video. I'm gonna go eat. I can't wait. It's gonna taste so good. I love you guys. Bye. Take care.